I'm trying to finish this thing. The last thing you need to do is request continued guidance. Verse 10 says, enlarge territory, right? But then it says what else? That your hand might be with me. A lot of y'all got small kids. And, when I worked in some summer camps, I'll be around some little kids. And most kids are going to be very, very short. The point where they're within an arm's length. And if they're real young, sometimes, people they running around everywhere. And for some kids, this may not work, but for most kids, this is what usually works. At least what I've seen. Sometimes you ain't got to snatch a kid. You ain't got to do all this stuff, put them on a leash and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes, all you got to do, they get around you and they trust you. Yes. You take your hand and you place it on their head. Yes. Yes. And something about the hand to the head puts them in a place of almost ease. That the activity within them is still there. But if you keep your hand there, you can guide them where they ought to go. And after a while, the more you do it, the more you're able to what? Take your hand off, because they've grown accustomed to where they ought to go. But if they ever get back out of line, you don't have to snatch them. You don't have to beat them down. You just put your hand back where? On their head. And then they'll what? Rotate back. Because they know the hand that's guiding them. Proverbs says, trust in the Lord. See, this is a trust issue. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Wherever I need to go, he's already seen the path that I ought to take. So even when I try to run away, he'll put his hand back on my head and say, you don't need to go there. Let me get you back in line. That's why some of the things you come into already in 2011, you said to yourself, maybe I should have had it a long time ago. But God is saying I had to detour you from some things that were going to try to swallow you up and take you out. If you ever understood that God still has control, and if you ever understood that God's got all power, like he said, then you would know that any place he takes you is still on time. Any blessing he asks for you is still on time. Anything he's trying to release in your life is still on time. Whatever he promised is still on time. Jesus had to die, and most people said that they could have got out of the grave right after he died, but he still had some work to do. He had to go back, grab some folk before the flood, and preach to them about a word from heaven that salvation had already come. He had to do a 3-day revival to get those folk waking up. But after he got done preaching on the 3rd day, early Sunday morning, he got up with all power in his hands. Some didn't see him right away, but just because they didn't see him right away, something happened that people still believe. And it went from trust in the Lord, everything he's got for you